Hello everyone and welcome to a special episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast I run over here on youtube.com/UC Campbell. Yes, we're still working on the audio side of everything. Like I said, that will more than likely be sometime next year if we decide to do something like that. But this one is a special episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle. One, we're not doing it live like we traditionally do. That is one thing I've been trying to do a little bit more often, is doing them live and then having everything uploaded a little bit later. But with that being with that one being said on that side of everything, this is a special one because it is also for NXT Takeover Los Angeles. So I'm going to start this off with basically, I think, how everybody else has really been feeling about the show. I thought it was a fantastic show. The one difference I personally think, there's a lot of people going out there calling this potentially, we'll say this, they're not saying it is the greatest one of all time, but they're saying more than likely this is the best NXT takeover that has ever taken place. I would wholeheartedly disagree with that on that side of everything. This was not, I wouldn't say this was the greatest one that's happened so far. It's hard to say which one I think was the best NXT takeover, as I feel like all of them usually deliver in some way, shape, or form, which this one did in spades, all honesty, to go along with that on that side of everything. But I did feel there was a few things that were potentially lacking on this one. So when they initially put the card out for this show, they basically advertised it as a 4-match show. It turned into a 5-match show right at the beginning, because Matt Riddle comes out at the beginning of Takeover, and he basically cuts a decent enough promo. I'll say decent enough on that one. A decent enough promo on Cassius Ohno, saying he doesn't want to wait for Wednesday for their scheduled match. We've got, I did like this one aspect. It's like, we've got a ring here. Matter of fact, we got 2 rings here. It just gives that little look like, yeah. He does come off as a pretty cool, as just a pretty cool guy to go along with it. I did like that promo. I like the aspect of Cassius Ohno coming out there and saying that he doesn't know he shouldn't be out here. Everything to go along with that. They do start a match. They did do a bit during the pre-show where Cassius Ohno said it would take him only 1 second to expose Riddle. Well, what ended up happening? It took only 1 second for Riddle to expose Cassius Ohno. One good knee strike to the face, and Cassius Ohno was down for the 3 count. I love the selling after the fact, because Cassius Ohno was playing it off as like, I'm good, and then falls back down. And even to the point that it's like, it was basically like a what happened type of feel, and I liked what they did there. That was kind of decent enough for what they did, but obviously enough on that one. Short match to go along with it. It actually makes sense for the story that they were telling, that Ohno was going to be charging in and trying to end it within a few seconds anyway, but it ends out reversing on him. I ended up liking that. I thought it came off really good. So this leads us to the matches that were properly advertised for the show, which the first one was Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler, 2 out of 3 falls for the NXT Women's title. The only real complaint I have about this one, I think it's the same complaint most people have about this one as well, was that this match was just a little too short. It was fast-paced throughout the entire match. We'll give it that. I'll definitely give it that one. I like the action that they did put into this match as well. Even to the point of Jessamine Duke and Maria Shafir coming out and interfering in the match. And this is the one thing I like about NXT interference versus, say, main roster interference. Main roster interference is like, we're just gonna cause the DQ and cause this to end right now. They could have gone that route where they gave Kairi the first fall based off of them interfering and causing a disqualification, and then just beating her down before the second fall happens to give Shayna Baszler's second fall. They didn't go that route. They went the other route where Shayna Baszler was doing something to distract the referee. She was going, like, pointing towards her mouth guard, everything on that one. And then both of them came out it attacked Kairi Sane, which led to Shayna Baszler getting the Carafuna clutch on Kairi Sane, and she has to tap out. The second fall, I thought, went really well to go along with that. They did this because they continued this whole aspect of Shayna Baszler, like, showing a sense of urgency and winning in that second fall really quick because she had Kairi in such a bad position from such a bad way from before. So I thought that came off really good. To the point that Shayna Baszler goes for a suplex on the ring apron. It is reversed into a spike look like a sick looking DDT. Crazy looking DDT on the ring apron, like when you saw Duke and Shafir on like on the outside of the ring. They gave a reaction like, oh. They gave that oh reaction, and it was really good with what they were going with. Kairi Sane goes on a house of fire, taking out all three of them with an insane elbow to the outside of the ring, gets Shayna Baszler back in the ring, does the insane elbow to pick up the victory in the second fall. So this leads to the third fall. Again, more interference from Maria Shafir and Jessamine Duke, but this causes Dakota Kai to run out. And Dakota Kai starts attacking both of them, giving a big boot to one of them at the time. It was actually a very stiff-looking boot to the face. But both of the other four horsewomen of the MMA take control over Dakota Kai, which causes Io Shirai to come out, and she just gets up to the top rope and does a great looking moonsault. I do like the moonsault. It was maybe a little over contrived, or a little bit of an over contrived spot, but it was what it was. This did lead to the finish of the match because Kairi Sane was setting up for her second attempt at an insane elbow off the top. Shayna Baszler just briefly moves to force her to miss the elbow, but allow her to do a roll up to finish off the match and pick up the victory. Well done match, if not just a little too short of a match, but overall I thought it was a very good match between both of them, and Shayna Baszler picks up the victory. It's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with Shayna Baszler with NXT at this point in time. I feel like they are keeping her down there, maybe to kind of make things a little bit easier for Jessamine Duke and Maria Shafir over there. Just somebody that they could go to for any advice or anything to go like that. That's, somebody that's easier to approach for them at that point in time. To go along with it. Obviously, there's a lot of people that can help down there, but it will probably make things a little bit easier on them, knowing that they have a friend down there as well to go along with it. So that's probably one of the reasons why they kept her down there. It'll be interesting to see if how much more we will be seeing with NXT with them. I would imagine this is going to set up some kind of match between the three of the four horsewomen of MMA going up against Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, and Dakota Kai at some point in time. I would imagine that would be the case here down the road. We'll see how that one ends out panning out in the end. So this leads us to our next match, which the next two matches were by far the best matches of the night. I'm going to go ahead and say it. They were by far the best matches of the night. First one was Johnny Gargano going up against Aleister Black. The storytelling in this match. Now, I'll be fair with this one. The beginning of the match, maybe the first half of the match itself, didn't feel like there was too much storytelling going on, but the story picked up and picked up and picked up and picked up and picked up throughout the entire match, leading to the end as well. That it had a nice build into a very good crescendo and a very good ending to go along with that. the beginning of the match, you got a lot of different moves. You did get one of those bits where it felt like it was a lot of just different moves, everything on that one. You had Johnny Gargano do a suicide dive out to the ring, going and turned it into a tornado DDT, does a slingshot DDT in the ring to get a 2 count. And Johnny Gargano was kind of, getting very frustrated throughout this entire match. Another good point of this one is that Johnny Gargano would come out there and do the same things he would normally do as a babyface. Like, he would do the look to the crowd, everything on that one. He would do things like that, but he would have like this jerk, a little bit of a snicker, or a smile is like, this guy doesn't like anything. But he would also be like, hey, to a little kid, but hey, oh, you still want a high five? I'll give you a high five. Boom. And give the kid a high five. I like things like that. He's totally a heel, but he still feels he's a babyface and everything. So he's still playing off that whole aspect that he feels he's the hero of the story, which they may be doing some kind of redemption bit here very soon. Who knows? Based off of this match, I liked the storytelling moment where where Johnny Gargano has Aleister Black down on his knees. He was going to go for the DIY style super kick, but you just have Aleister Black go like, whoa, 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 whoa. Sits Indian style. It's like, give me your best shot. He goes for the running knee, misses, and gets caught with a roll up. But Johnny Gargano will play kind of the same thing as well. He got to a point, he did another suicide dive. He gets caught with a knee to the outside of the ring. Sick looking spot. He gets back in the ring, and he's crawling towards Aleister Black, and he's just he was grabbing at the foot, and Aleister Black just keeps kicking his foot away. But eventually, he's like, he puts it under his chin. It's like, no, give me the black mass. In this. I deserve this at this point. And it's like, you want me, you got Aleister Black just saying, it's like, you want me to do this? Yes. Thank you. Does it miss? Johnny Gargano ducks it and gets a roll up. He was playing a little bit of possum there, which led to the end of the match where Aleister Black does hit the black mass and then holds up Johnny Gargano, because the only thing holding him up was basically Johnny Gargano's head was leaning on his chest. And then he pushes him off, and then tells him, is like, I absolve you of your sins, hits another black mass, and done. It was great little storytelling. It'll be interesting to see if they're going to be doing some kind of redemption style story here with Johnny Gargano, or is this going to be another thing that that pushes Johnny a little bit more over the edge at that time. It'll be interesting to see where they go with this one. It definitely will be. I thought this was absolutely a fantastic match. And now this leads us to what was another fantastic match, which was the Velveteen Dream going up against Tommaso Ciampa in an NXT title match. And this was a well-played match. All around, just their little story beats that they would do in there, and they even incorporate the ref into it to go along with it. I love the little story beats that they put into this match. Just Dream trying to do everything he can to not only put away Tommaso Ciampa, but also kind of playing homage to many different wrestlers to go along with it. He came out in full Hollywood gear, and by Hollywood I mean Hollywood Hogan. It's hard to tell whether or not he's mocking Hogan or if he's paying homage to Hogan at this point in time to go along with it. On that side of everything, I just liked what they did with this match. It was very slow paced at the beginning, but it did let the crowd kind of rest after what was a very fast-paced match with Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black. And then after about 5 to 7 minutes, they picked up and they kicked it into high gear themselves. there you had Velveteen Dream doing a ring post figure four, doing the figure four as well. They were playing to the crowd with the whole big boot and leg drops bit to go along with that. At this point in time, the one thing that Velveteen Dream needs to really watch is becoming nothing more than a wrestler that references other wrestlers. That's probably the only thing that is maybe a downfall of his character at this moment in time, is that he maybe makes a little bit too many references to other wrestlers to go along with it, and may make it seem like he's not his own on that side of everything. That might be the only real downside to him at this point, but like I said, I love this match. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I love the bit on the outside of the ring where Tommaso Ciampa, he's basically pulled up the ring mats again. He was going to do something on the outside of the ring. He gets tackled over the announcer's table with Velveteen Dream as they were getting back up and getting ready to go for another bit where it looked like Ciampa had control again. You hear Mauro Ranallo just saying all these bad things to Tommaso Ciampa, continually calling him the scourge of NXT. Everything he's done so far is like, putting him over more as a heel throughout that entire bit. And then all of a sudden you just see Ciampa take like a notepad or something and just chuck it at Mauro. And he says, "Watch your mouth. You're talking to the champ over here," like threatening him. He runs into the Dream Valley driver. And then he sets up in the ring for the Purple Rainmaker, hits it, 2 count. Tommaso Ciampa moves all the way over to the ropes. Velveteen Dream pretty much books it right over to the top rope to do it on the ring apron, misses, and this sets up the finish where you had Tommaso Ciampa doing the hanging or the draping DDT to Velveteen Dream in between both rings, but with the way that they do it, both rings have the metal area in there, and then he does the DDT on that to pick up the victory. Fantastic match. Again, another fantastic match from both of them. Velveteen Dream sold the crap out of that DDT. He was out for a good period of time. Like, they were playing it off as is he actually hurt or out? Because Tommaso Ciampa didn't move around either for a little while, but he was just sitting there laughing just over Velveteen Dream. I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And I could see the match again, but I think they're going to go a different route with it. Obviously, with Tommaso picking up the victory on that one, they'll probably be going some kind of a different route on that one. So we'll see how it ends up going. And this brings us to the main event of the night, which was the War Games match. It was War Raiders, Pete Dunne, and Ricochet going up against the Undisputed Era. Everybody was in the 3 people were going to be in shark cages on each team as they start off the match. You had, honestly, this match, there wasn't much really going on in this match until the War Games portion fully started, or at least till the last people. It just felt kind of meh, honestly. I thought the match was fine. In the end, it was a very long match, and it looked like them going through a lot, making it look like, hey, this is War Games. They went through a bunch. It started off with Ricochet and Adam Cole, so they were in there for the entire match. Like I said, I thought the match was good, but I don't know. Maybe War Games just isn't my style of match. Or maybe it's just the feeling of like some of the main spots looked way over contrived and almost to a certain point of being unnecessary for it. Like, there were little story beats in there that I liked. They may mention to the rule, if you leave or if you escape the cage or leave the cage, you lose it for your team. You had a bit where Adam Cole and Ricochet were fighting on top of the cage, and then you had Bobby Fish trying to throw, or was it Roderick Strong. It was either Bobby Fish or Roderick Strong, trying to throw Ricochet over the cage from inside the ring to try to get them to win the match that way. I liked little story bits like that. The Tower of Doom spot looked cool, but again, what my biggest downside to the Tower of Doom spot, it looks way too contrived and way too set up for everything. I thought it looked really cool in there. I did like the little story beat that they had going on in the match with on the face side with War Raiders, Pete Dunne, and Ricochet, is that each time the shark cage would open, Pete Dunne wanted to leave and be the next one in, but one of the War Raiders would push him to the side and go. For two of those, I liked what they did on those. Eventually, Bobby Fish was the last one to enter on the team of Undisputed Era. He takes a padlock, and he takes their padlock from the ref, gets a chain and locks and circles it around Pete Dunne's cage to lock him in even more, which caused a lot of silliness to me on that one. That was probably the other bit, is that there was a little bit too much, and it just didn't come off all that well in my mind, which I'll talk about that in a brief moment. I did like the whole aspect of Bobby Fish running down there, being the fourth person in the Undisputed Era, and they had the advantage at the time. What does he do? He pulls out a bunch of chairs, and what do they have on them? Undisputed Era logos. I thought that was fantastic. and I thought it came off really nice. You did have a really... but this is where things lost me a little bit, but I mean, they picked it back up a little bit as well to go along with it. So when Pete Dunne was supposed to be released from the shark cage, so the ref pulls off the normal padlock that was on the cage, and this is the whole aspect of, like, what were you guys doing for the last 3 minutes? You did nothing. They literally did nothing for 3 minutes, just assuming that the key that they had would also work on that padlock to go along with it, because Bobby Fish had thrown the other key lock into the stands, which no ref even bothered to go find the key or spent 3 minutes going to get bolt cutters, or it made zero sense. Eventually they bring out bolt cutters, and Pete Dunne was able to make it down to the ring. He starts throwing in trash cans and tables and not chairs, but there was also a chain in there. They had a great spot in there, a couple great spots in there, I thought, that were really good. You had Kyle O'Reilly that had and this was a little bit after the other spot as well, so I'll get to that one. But I like the spot where Hanson was on the top rope from one ring, and then you have Kyle O'Reilly who's on a table, but he has Ricochet in a triangle chokehold, and you have Hanson who kind of hesitates for a brief second. It's like, I don't want to hit Ricochet, but you have Ricochet going like, come on. And then he does it, and Ricochet gets out of the way. He destroys Kyle O'Reilly. You also have another great spot where the Undisputed Era had Pete Dunne in a leg lock, or like a leg lock on his injured knee, but you also had him almost like in a camel clutch where they're using a chair to go along with it. From the Undisputed Era, and you had the other two members of the Undisputed Era swinging chairs and everything to keep the other ones at the other ring to try to get the submission from Pete Dunne. And what happens? One of the Ricochet gets a running head start, and then one of the War Raiders just chucks them into both the members of the Undisputed Era so they can break up the submission attempt. I thought that was really good. This led up to the end, which had Pete Dunne hit the bitter end on Adam Cole, and then Adam Cole ate a 450, and then both Pete Dunne and Ricochet picked up the victory by pinning Adam Cole at the same time. Again, I thought this was a good match. Maybe I'm just not that big of a fan of the War Games matches. I don't know. I thought they definitely grasped the concept of the War Games match. A couple of the spots were very over-contrived. The Tower of Doom spot, as cool as it looks, it looks over contrived and unnecessary. Same with the Ricochet bit where he did essentially a double moonsault off of the top of the cage, which again, let's not get it wrong, it looked cool, but you just see, it's like they do that, and then you just see all 7 guys kind of get there, and it's like, we got to catch them. It looked a little too over contrived, and again, unnecessary. Just to me. That's just how I felt. It didn't feel like they were going for something that was necessary towards the story or anything like that. It felt like it was a move for the sake of doing a move. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to see a guy get hurt by like trying to set it up where it's a decent story beat to go along with it. On that one, where you have maybe fewer of the guys there and they try to do it unexpectedly. Obviously, we don't want to go that route. But at that point in time, if it looks over contrived and it just looks like it's unnecessary, why do it? You're just doing a move for the sake of doing a move at that point. And it did take away from the match for me a little bit on that one. That's just how I felt. I thought it was still a good match with an overall fantastic show on that side of everything. Again, I don't feel like it's the best NXT takeover, but it's definitely up there being one of the better ones on that side of everything. We'll be fair on that side. But overall, like I said, fantastic show. Again, NXT TakeOver delivers on that side. Maybe I feel like it's been overhyped a little bit over the last day or so. I am recording this on a Monday afternoon at this point, right after the show had taken place. But overall, fantastic show. Really good NXT takeover, and we'll see how everything goes for NXT takeover in Phoenix is next. So that'll be interesting to see, and see how they go about building stories going into that one as well. So with that being said, everybody, I thank you guys for watching everything. Take care, peace out, and have a great rest of your day.